To the southeast side. Good afternoon, residents of the southeast side. We are Bridges. We are a community organization that is here to fight for the struggles of our community. And we're here to talk today about environmental racism and our experiences of living the existence of environmental racism. So I'm here to tell you about one of the great actors in the corporate wealth that they share of pollution in our community. One of these actors is S.H. Bell. They actually are responsible with soil contaminations of at least 3 blocks within this community. So much so that when the EPA came out and tested these sites, of all the residents that had their soils tested, 70% of them had manganese contamination. Now, if you don't understand what manganese actually can do to you, just think of lead. It's the same exact thing. It eats away at your organs and organic tissues. So contamination starts to affect your brain development when you're inhaling it. Particulate matter at 2.5 and 10 start to enter into your lungs in the deeper recessions, and they start to contaminate your blood. That contamination does irreversible damage. And why is that important? Because there's 20,000 residents that live within a 1 mile from this site. Over 1,500 of them are children under the age of 10. And this is the experience that we get to live in the environmental racism lands of the southeast side of the 10th Ward. Because the city would rather have the poor people, the silent majority in the 10th Ward, be quiet and enjoy the jobs that are killing our community. It was said that we built the skyline that made Chicago a world-class city. And what are we inheriting? Our children, what are they inheriting? They're getting buried alive in toxic pollution, manganese, pet coke, anything else they can put here as a placeholder, because they would rather make us a sandbox than give us something beautiful. Why can't we get Lincoln Yards? No, we get the short end of the deal and we get General Iron. We're not rich, but the one thing we get to hand off our children is the inheritance of air pollution, soil contamination, and dirty water. And we're here to tell you it's enough. We're here every single day, and we're not going to stop fighting until social justice is an experience that we're living. That we want something more. We deserve something more. Clean air, clean water, and clean soil are our rights. How free are we as people if you can't even grow tomatoes in your backyard because of this community, this great community company that gives us jobs but poisons us? So what we're here to highlight this actor, that this is the burial we get of a neurotoxic poisoning. How much can this hold of particulate matter going into our lungs, contaminating our soil? How many community members here have grown their own food only to realize they've been poisoning themselves, thinking they're doing something great by growing their own food? We're prisoners in our own community because corporate wealth is looked at better and more exclusively than the general health and safety of its own community members of the 10th Ward. Now I'm going to pass it off to one of the activists that's been involved in this from the start. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam. That's a very hard
Yeah.
but I'm going to try my best. I'm Martita. I'm with the Southeast Side Coalition to Ban Pet Coke, and I've been involved with them for about probably the last 5 to 6 years, when Olga and Sam and Peggy were all out here busting their butts against the pet coke and trying to get the pet coke piles removed. We were successful at that, but we still have a long way to go, because then they discovered the manganese and the lead, and now we got General Iron trying to come in. And, people always say the 10th Ward is the epitome of, the expression, the city of big shoulders. And that's very true, because we're the epicenter of the steel industry for many years. And, people that grow up here and that have families that have lived here are tough. They understand what it's like to fight, and it's very, but it gets tiring. It's exhausting, always shouldering the burden. My aunt's house she used to live about a couple blocks from here, and I remember my cousins telling me that she had to holler at my little cousins for coming over here to play. Children should never have to play in toxic waste. But, when you don't have the resources that a lot of them have on the north side, unfortunately, a lot of times, these areas are inviting to kids, and it's not right because there's so many issues. Manganese is a severe neurotoxin that can cause a lot of problems that can harm children for life. And we're sick of having it in this neighborhood. We don't want General Iron. We're sick of always being the dumping ground, and we're not going to take it anymore. That's about it for me.
Yes.
Thank you. There's one last thing you want to add about during the pandemic and we're getting more information. There's a general point.
So, one more example we want to iterate of how much environmental racism is affecting our community. During this pandemic, it seems to be that our communities of color, have to burden the biggest fight and loss when it comes to epidemics like this. We don't have the resources, so our communities are the ones affected. And not only that, even during this, our former mayor always once said, never let a crisis go away without accomplishing something, right? So what we've understood is, it's during this that it seems to be that there's a speed up process of pushing General Iron down our throats. And I'm sorry, it's just